What the algorithm gives me is also a lot of church stuff. So I get this clip from the infamous Church for People Who Like Anonymous Sex, and the priest is discussing the topic of white Jesus. I will spare you the clip, but suffice to say that this priest found it very offensive how Jesus is depicted as white, and then the whole congregation claps. I think this sentiment that I have heard from many mouths is silly. I know people being unreasonable and stuck in a particular way of thinking will not hear me out, but it is untrue that Jesus is not white. Jesus is white because he is a Jew. Like Ben Shapiro, for example, is a Jew. He is white. Obviously, there are people who believe that today's Jews are actually fake Jews and real historical Jews were black or something, and you'll probably find people proclaiming this in the very comments of this video. But that is the minority view. Jesus is not from like Africa or India, but from the Middle East, and therefore his skin color is white, or in the very least something very close to white, because that is the skin color that many people are having in the Middle East through no fault of their own. White, in the context of describing a skin color, is not synonymous with European. White, being shorthand for being of European descent specifically, is some weird shit that Americans do. They may have cultural hegemony, but we are under no obligation to copy the rather impractical terminology outside of the US. Like, if you were to be robbed by Ben Shapiro and you have to describe him to the police, you will describe him as white. Because it is a useful descriptor. Terms like white passing person of color not only sound completely insane, it also injures our ability to use the English language in an efficient way. It should also be noted that the Americans' use of white is deeply rooted in the belief that race is something internal rather than external. And that is an idea that is not only stupid, but potentially also dangerous. So Jesus is incidentally white. But that's not why I am annoyed with the complaint that was made by the priest of the Church for People Who Like Anonymous Sex. After all, I know, obviously, as I just said, that Americans often use the word white in a stupid way. In all likelihood, it is the blue eyes and the blonde hair that you sometimes see that the anonymous sex priest was angry about. And that is true, of course. Jesus is Jewish and therefore he is statistically highly unlikely to have blonde hair and or blue eyes. The thing is, I think that ethnic depictions of Jesus Christ are good. I think that it is good to depict Jesus Christ inaccurately. Do we believe that an icon of Christ is an accurate representation of what he looks like? Sure, it is possible that you are stupid, but the reason we make icons of Christ is not to inform us what he looks like. I think globally a negligible amount of people have that idea. I think maybe 6, and they are all low church, so they are aniconic anyway. Rather, the God-man is being depicted not as a reminder that Christ looked a certain way, but that he became one of us. That is the mystery the icon of Christ invites us to confront. It is the great mystery that the entirety of the Christian faith revolves around. God himself does something that feels deeply blasphemous. I think that the power of ethnic depictions of Jesus Christ is that it removes the incidental characteristics of the incarnation, him being a Jew, to focus instead on the theological meaning of the incarnation. Christ, shockingly, becomes one of us, lowering himself to elevate us. If you wish to depict this mystery, it is appropriate in iconography to depict Christ as a member of your ethnic group. I think rather than anathematizing white Jesuses under the cheap presumption that it must be white supremacy, which is a moral judgment, so if you are wrong you committed calumny, it would be a much more fruitful labor to instead promote other ethnic depictions of Jesus. This is my opinion. Obviously, you can also say that going by that line of reasoning, you might as well depict Christ as a woman. That is also an opinion you could have. Either way, I think ethnic depictions of Jesus are not without merit.